This video is dedicated for those of you that are not elite level programmers and have no idea what a monoid is. I'm going to be ruining programming memes by explaining them to you. How it's going to work is I'm going to go to Programming Humor on Reddit. I'm going to go to the top posts of the week and I'm going to explain each and every meme except for the ones I don't feel like until I get tired. By the end of this video, you're not going to be any closer to being a 10x engineer, but you may be able to start laughing at some of their jokes. Yeah, sex is great, but have you ever been coding for 3 hours with nothing but failure and it finally runs properly? This one's pretty self-explanatory, and given that I'm a virgin Chad programmer whose code is always right the first time, I can't really give first-hand experience on either of these, so we're just gonna have to trust the tweeter here. I'll sometimes leave a dangling else just as a threat to the compiler that it better run that if statement or else. Usually when you write an if-else statement, you'll have your if block, there'll be some code inside, then you'll have your else block and there'll be some code inside. But the joke is here, he didn't put any code in the else block. There really isn't an else block. It just says else and then nothing. Like if else, you kind of have to do the if. Yeah. While you were out partying, I studied the code. While you were out engaging in premarital sex, I studied the code. While you spent months at the gym for the sake of vanity, I studied the code. And I still don't know what the fudge is going on. I think this is referring to people that are just like learning to code and they're just having a real hard time because despite all the propaganda there is about how coding is great and that you should learn it and that it's really easy and you can get a job in 6 months, it turns out coding is actually really hard. And it could also be referring to how like most software engineers feel like they don't know what they're doing and they're just Googling their entire job and they just feel like imposters. So this works if you're not an engineer or you're an engineer and you're trying to code and they all just feel like they have no idea what they're doing. I'm a software engineer with decades of experience. My code is used by hundreds of thousands and I've taught software engineering in over a dozen countries. I just had to ask my colleague for help in finding out why my code was not working. The reason was I hadn't hit compile. This probably happened to almost every programmer and I don't know exactly why. My guess is just as a programmer, you were trying to juggle so many things in your mind at once, like the software itself and making sure it's right, that you forget like insignificant details, stuff like this, or you just make really dumb mistakes because you're like thinking really high level and it kind of just happens all the time. Tree is structured is best seen graphically. A lot of the terminology relating to trees is borrowed from that of real life trees. Computer scientists, having spent their entire life in front of a computer and never gone outside, have evidently forgotten that trees are supposed to grow up and not down. The diagram with the circles and the lines and stuff, that's how computer scientists represent a tree structure. It's just a way to store data, and pretty much every computer science student or software engineer will probably learn this at some point and then like never again use it in their life. But you'll learn it, and how it works is, yeah, it goes down. And so it's a tree with leaves and stuff, and they call the thing at the top a root, but I guess it's more like a potato than a tree because it does go this way, not that doesn't go that way. When you try Googling how to do something in plain C, C++, C#, Objective-C, allow us to introduce ourselves. I don't code anything in C, so I don't Google anything in C, but my guess is when you Google how to do stuff, all that comes up is answers of how to do it with C++. So rip you C programmers, you're gonna have to just go and read some books or something. I think PHP is a great language, but that's just my 2 cents. PHP to USD, 1 Philippine peso is 2 cents in United States dollar. The thing holding this joke together is PHP is known as a terrible language and people just love PHP memes. Pretty much you put PHP in a meme and you're gonna get a lot of upvotes. Client expectations, client budget. This is not really even a programming meme. It's like a consulting or freelance meme. But anyway, how it works is, the client's just like, I want you to build the next Facebook clone, and I have this $20 I've been spending on Weebly.com, and I was hoping you could build that for me when I transfer over the $20 to your account. Friends, how did you write this code so beautifully? Me, proudly. I stole it. This is actually just the reality of being a programmer. You're going to be copying, say, 90% of your code from either documentation, Stack Overflow, GitHub, your other code base, or your coworker's code, or somebody else's code. You're just going to be copying code and then tweaking some things, and that is what it is to be a programmer. My code before refactoring, my code after refactoring. You know when you're like cooking something and you're like, you know what, I'll just add like a little bit of spice here and see what happens. And then at the end it just tastes like dog poop. Well, that sometimes happens with your code as well. Stay at 127.0.0.1. We're a 255.255.255.0. Just kidding, that's not how you're actually supposed to read the meme. In programmer speak, you'd actually read this as stay at home, wear a mask. The first part, the 127 thing, is the address you would actually put into your browser if you were like developing a local website on your computer. So that's how I knew it was home. And the second one, I was just guessing that was a mask. I don't know anything about networking, and I'm just, yeah. Problems with recursion, question mark. Please take one. He takes a bit. What the? He looks at the bit. Problems with recursion, question mark. Please take one. How do I explain recursion? I guess you can think of recursion kind of like going in a circle, but each time it gets smaller as you go around the circle. And so the idea is the comic started and ends at the same place, but the little strip gets smaller every time you pull it. Yeah, okay. Me declares a variable x. My IDE, field x is never used. Me. Will you shut up, man? When programmers are coding, they use this thing called an IDE, which is a program that you can type into. It's kind of like a fancy Word document, and it'll give you like, little underlines when you're doing stuff wrong, kind of like when you like misspell a word in Word document. It does the same thing, but the thing is they give you feedback really fast. So before you even have a chance to finish, it's already barking at you that you're doing something wrong. And so, yeah, that's what that was about. Don't mess with me. My boyfriend is a programmer. He'll hack your world into oblivion. The boyfriend. How to declare variables in HTML. You can't declare variables in HTML. And even if her boyfriend was good at programming, like 95% of good programmers have no idea how to hack, myself included. So no, I can't hack your friend's Facebook account. All right, I'm kind of done looking at these memes. Unsurprisingly, it was kind of less fun explaining programming memes. Who would have guessed it? Oh well, guys, I'll see you in the next one.